So, a couple of months, maybe weeks ago, I promised you some follow-up videos to games like Jedi or Final Fantasy 16 in terms of performance, in terms of the state of the current version actually. And this today is the follow-up video, but unfortunately there's not much to follow up on, because since my last videos, nothing has changed in terms of performance. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. This is just a very quick, I don't know what you want to call this, follow-up or maybe calling out video, you know, because we still playing those games, or this, in this case Jedi, with this frame rate. Since patch 6 nothing has changed. That's the last patch. This was released, I can't remember, sorry, the last patch was actually 6.5, but there was no improvement in terms of performance. There was just improvements in terms of bug fixes, which is good, don't get me wrong. We need of course bug fixes as well, but in terms of performance nothing has changed since day one. And yeah, why this is the case? Because maybe it is just not fixable. You can see day one patch was already terrible in terms of performance in the performance mode, okay? So, and not just in terms of the very bad frame rate, we also had and for the very first time, what I actually experienced in a game, or at least in a next gen game, we had tearing issue. We had VSync issue. This is what you can see here on the top here, this line. So usually you don't see this in recordings like that, but because there's such a bad tearing issue, whatever, you can even see this here in the videos. And this is very, it's annoying, to be very honest. So, and this is, according to my info, still not fixed. I need to say, on the other hand, I haven't installed those games because there's no need to, in my opinion. There was nothing released after patch 6.5 for Jedi and after patch 1.03 for Final Fantasy 16. Nothing was updated, and yeah, I have a very bad feeling about it that we most likely will never see a fix for these issues here. And I clearly can remember when I made my performance analyze video to the demo version of Final Fantasy 16, I got a lot of backlash. I got a lot of very not well-behaved fanboys in my comment section, and they actually tried to call me out because it's just a demo version. So even with version 1.03, there's no difference in terms of performance, okay? So nothing has changed. Maybe here and there a frame better or worse, but in terms of performance, this is exactly what you can expect on the PlayStation 5, on a exclusive PlayStation 5 game, by the way, because this is, in my opinion, very important. We're talking about this in a second again, but this is an exclusive PlayStation 5 game. It's nowhere else available, just on the PlayStation 5. And we have this bad performance. This is an old video, by the way, so no worries about this, but the frame rate or performance is still the same, okay? So if we're not even getting a good performance on PlayStation 5 exclusives, what can we expect from games like this, where we have so many other consoles or PCs involved? But I just like to name one game where we actually have PlayStation 5 exclusive. Okay, now it's on the PC as well, but it was PlayStation 5 exclusive, and not just like this. This game was a launch game, and the graphical quality, the performance, what we had from the very beginning was outstanding. And at some point we even got a 40 FPS fidelity mode, or whatever you want to call this. We got a open FPS, open frame rate mode, and this is just wow, amazing. Insomniac is, the developer Insomniac are, in my opinion, the best developer what you can have, and thanks God we have them on the PlayStation 5, thanks God. I mean, I wish we would have developer like Insomniac on the Xbox as well, because I'm missing actually this a little bit on the Xbox. But anyway, that's a different story. In terms of the performance in Final Fantasy 16, the only word what I have actually is really, it's disappointing. It's absolutely disappointing. And what I'm showing here is the VRR capabilities or support on the PlayStation 5 is not on the same great level as it should be, like on the Xbox. Because the problem is now when you fall below 48 FPS, and this is happening, I wouldn't say all the time, but it is happening in the game, VRR can't work anymore on the PlayStation 5 without additional software tricks. Let's call it like this. Okay, so they made it happen here because great developer. They didn't make it happen here because no one cares. But let's talk a little bit more about Star Wars, about Jedi Survivor, and in my opinion that's a different story to this one. Okay, so exclusive PlayStation 5, not acceptable, the performance in my opinion. That's of course a little bit of a different story, but still not acceptable. Don't get me wrong, this is just not nice, and I can live with this actually, you know, when we're just talking about 60 or 50 to 60 FPS with VRR is still okay. But the screen tearing here is just a joke, to be very honest. So, and what we have here, and what I don't understand why this is not possible, that we just disable ray tracing, because according to my information, even in the performance mode, there's ray tracing enabled. Whatever ray tracing it is here, maybe the water, something like that, or maybe shadows. Why can't we disable this? Why is there no option to improve maybe the frames per second? Maybe. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe this game is so CPU bound that even disabling ray tracing wouldn't help much. I'm not yet an expert on this, but I would like to understand this. Why is this not possible? I don't need ray tracing when we have a performance like this. Okay, now we have 60 FPS. Okay, that's of course a very bad. But this was actually a very good test what I made, because as soon you walk, you get a very bad frame rate again. Anyway, you can see in terms of performance, it's just not acceptable in my opinion. And the same counts in terms of VRR, in terms of stuttering, the same counts here as well as in Final Fantasy 16 for the PlayStation 5. So what we have here, we have actually on both consoles stuttering all the time, even with VRR enabled. Okay, VRR enabled makes it better, but still you have stuttering, you have screen tearing and stuff like that. So in terms of the technical implementation or technical quality of this game, this is just terrible. But the problem what we have here on top, you know, when we fall again beyond or below 48 FPS on the PlayStation 5, VRR can't work at all. So it's still enabled here. Even the Xbox version has slightly lower FPS. It is still a little bit better playable than on the PlayStation 5 with a little bit of higher frame rate. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, I mean, I would like to see 60 FPS all the time, but you can see it's not possible. So I don't know what's going on in terms of performance for Jedi, why we can't have a performance mode without ray tracing. Maybe someone can actually answer this question in the comment section. Okay, my friends, before we now end this video with all the negative energy in us, let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West, because not sure if you remember, but this game in the very beginning when it was released was terrible in terms of the performance mode. And when I started playing this game for the very first time, I couldn't believe that I was actually playing a PlayStation 5 game with a worse picture quality than Horizon Zero Dawn, which was just a PlayStation 4 game which received a 60 FPS update for the PlayStation 5. And that was the case. I'm not changing my opinion about this. And I got also a lot of backlash actually for this, to calling this out, because some people are obviously blind. Anyway, so at some point they fixed this game and now it is one of the best looking open world games, okay, in terms of visual quality. So there is hope for some games. I wouldn't say there's hope for all the games, because sometimes maybe the engine is not made for the hardware what we're having at the moment. But to be honest, instead of calling for new hardware all the time, we should actually call for better optimization, in my opinion. Even with Unreal Engine 5, and that's a complete different story, and maybe it should be a complete different video, but Unreal Engine 5, in my opinion, can be run just great on the next-gen consoles. We shouldn't call it next-gen consoles anyway, the current consoles, okay? It is just a matter of optimization, because the hardware hasn't changed since we played games like this, you know what I mean? Or Ratchet & Clank, where's my Ratchet & Clank? this is, and have you played Immortals of Avium? Have you played this Unreal Engine 5 game? Don't tell me this looks looks like day and night better. Day and night better. And not just in terms of it looks better, it plays much better in terms of performance. The same for here, okay? So this is just a joke. If this is Unreal Engine 5, then please don't release games in Unreal Engine 5 anymore, okay? So just my 2 cents. Thank you very much for watching me. I see you next time. Bye.